Hi my friends, welcome back, welcome to my channel. This is Alex from Living on the Edge, and this time I'm taking you to explore Princess Cruise Line. I boarded today the beautiful Caribbean Princess, and to be completely honest with you, I actually did not have enough time to kind of learn about the ship before I was able to take this cruise, or to basically find information what comes with the accommodation behind me. I'm staying this time with one of the most unique accommodation categories they have on the ship. This is actually what they call the Window Suite, but it also been called on other platform as a honeymoon suite or the Vista Suite. So yeah, this is a very unique category. Of course, stay tuned until the end of this video, because at the end of the exploration of this beautiful accommodation, I will talk about how this week went. How did I feel during those 8 nights? What went great? Perhaps some things did not go great. And I will give you every possible trick and tip how to make your vacation on board the ship, and especially on this accommodation, the best way possible. So as always, grab something nice to drink, perhaps a snack. Let's take a tour and learn. Let's begin, friends. This is the entrance to this beautiful suite, and I'll be completely open with you guys. I'm not sure how to call this one, because sometimes Princess call it the Fiesta Suite, sometimes it's called the Window Suite, sometimes it's called the Honeymoon Suite. So let's just call it a suite. But this is your entrance, and as you can see on the other side of the entrance door, we're first of all greeted by this marble entry with some closets and storage. Let me walk you towards the entry door, and I will show you, of course, the map. We are interestingly located on deck number 6 Centrum, right here where the red dot is. Those suites actually apparently by the map has names. This is Suite F311. The name of the suite is Puerto Rico. So this is the suite, very central located, very close to elevators and everywhere you want to be. But let's turn around and start exploring. So first of all, this vestibule or entryway has a huge mirror floor to ceiling. We also have this door right here, which will lead us to the bathroom, and right next to it we have one of those closets. On the other side, let me turn around, we have additional closet. Contains 4 doors, and we'll of course experience those in a moment. But let me show you, of course, first of all, the room itself. This is the suite. Let me turn you around so you can have the view of the whole room. Let me walk right here so I can turn this way. Yes, my friends, this is the Window Suite, the honeymoon suite in its glory. First of all, let me show you what I was greeted with from Princess, and I assume this comes with the suites. There is this very generous fruit plate, very nice, and thank you very much, Princess. But there's also some tasty snacks here. So we have some prosciutto here, and we have some, I guess, sushi and feta was something, I think. Yeah, very nice. Those suites also come with sort of a minibar setup. So this one is right here, waiting for you on the table. Those are mini bottles of the Wars White Label, Hennessy, some Absolute Vodka, and I think is some kind of gin. Yes, it's a New Amsterdam gin. There is more to that, and I will show you everything in a second. This is the TV, of course, but let me turn you around and show you everything from this angle. So as you can see, first of all, we have, of course, the bed right here. I personally do really enjoy the classic old school decor this room has. One thing this room is really not short of is storage. We will explore all that. But first of all, the bed. The bed is set right now to be a king size bed. I would say it's somewhere between queen size and king size, something around that area. Those, from what I can see, 2 single beds, 2 twin beds, basically pushed together. And I would assume that if you would like to kind of separate those if you don't wish to share the bed with the person you're traveling with. You of course can ask your room attendant. On the sides of the bed we have of course the nightstands. Those are full-size nightstands. They're very nice. We have the stone marble tops for those of course nightstands. We have 3 drawers on each of those stands. They're pretty standard drawers. Of course we have 2 switch lights right there so you can control and close, shut down the light from your bed without getting up. Lamp, another lamp on the wall, some art wall, and of course the same setup on the other side. Now this suite, as you can see, does not have any balcony. Instead of a balcony, we have 2 windows. It's a very wide suite, and majority of this space is covered by a very, very long desk. Once again, this desk has this marble top. We have some 2 shelves right there on the bottom. Behind those 2 doors right here, we can find our minibar. Inside of this minibar, my friends, there's some stuff already pre-stocked by Princess. We have some sodas and water, and I think there's some tonic water, sparkling water, and some beers. This comes pre-stocked, from my understanding, once per cruise. If you need to pre-stock it again, of course, you can ask your room attendant. I'm pretty sure it's for a charge. But yeah, we have, of course, this. We do have a chair right here to help you, of course, to use this area as a desk if you need to work, or perhaps just, I don't know, read a book or something with this beautiful view from the window. Next to the nightstand on this side, which also has the phone right there, by the way, we also have additional storage here with 3 drawers. Let's open. Here it is. And we have some more storage right there with 2 shelves. They're open, there is no door. Let me turn you. And of course you have the TV here. Now the TV can be turned, as you can see, it's slightly turned right now towards the bedroom area, but it can also turn towards the sofa in the sitting area. Speaking about that, as you can see, we are facing now the other side of the suite, which basically has a 2-seater sofa, which can open to a queen-size bed, which makes me think that this suite can probably accommodate 4. We do have a coffee table right here. We have an armchair, and we have additional one of those nightstands that we saw before. In this case, it's used basically as a side table for your sofa. Now, I will mention that I don't see, unfortunately, any charging ports next to the sofa nightstands or the nightstand next to the bed. For that reason, as always, I recommend to bring either some power bank or something that the cruise line allows and permits so you can charge your device at night. Now, of course, next to the sofa, we have the armchair, and behind the armchair, we can find additional 3rd storage closet. This one does not have any hanging space, but let me open the doors for you so I can show you what's hiding behind. It's actually very, very large. And inside we can find this safe. This is a very tiny safe. It's definitely not big enough for your laptop, but it's of course enough for your personal items like maybe jewelry, passport, wallet, stuff like that. But this space is very, very large. On top I can see 3 life jackets, which maybe we should scratch what I said before, and it's not for 4 guests. I think if we have 3 life vests, this is probably what this room can accommodate. So we'll go with 3 guests. Now, below those 2 doors, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 drawers for additional storage. Again, friends, this room is storage, 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 storage. Those are very wide, very, very deep. I promise you can put anything you wish to bring to your ship without this being cluttered around the suite. Now, next to the sofa, we also have this vanity right here. Hi friends, there's a very generous inside mirror, pre-lit. As you can see, we have those 2 lights right there. Again, marble top of this desk. We have 3 drawers right there, additional chair. Your phone is here, of course. And this is also where we can find, finally, some charging ports. So on this side, we have 2 European charging ports. We do have some, those outlets here if you want to turn on and off your lights around it. This is a night light that we have here. This is a card for my room attendant. Still didn't meet the person, but can't wait to see who is my room attendant. And of course, on this side, we have two outlets, which are US plugs. This is pretty much, my friends, all you have in this room again. So I would bring converters to basically allow you, whether in Europe or US, to convert from European to US, so at least you can have 4 ports. Now, speaking about that, you also will find your hair dryer right here on the wall, kind of like old school, but it's one of those that you're supposed to detach somehow, like so, from the wall. I haven't seen those for years, but yeah, it's right there. And you need, of course, to plug into the electricity that is right there, here. So this basically goes into the plugs right there once you need to use it. Now, right above the hair dryer, we will find our thermostat. Again, it's a little bit on the older school, but it's sufficient. It can show you what's the temperature or medium or low right now. You can control the speed of the fan, things like that. Now let's explore, of course, the storage that we have in the entryway. So first of all, we have this large closet right here. We have 4 doors. We'll start with those 2. Let me open those for you. And this section has basically mostly hanging space. You have the section on the bottom, you have the same section on the top, tons of hangers. You're definitely not going to be short of any right here. Let's see what waits for us on the other side. The other 2 doors right here will have additional hanging space. Over here we can find only one very long wide rod right there. There is no additional rod right here. But also you can find here your 2 sun umbrellas that Princess provides you. They're right there. Some extra hangers, and over here you will find your laundry bags. Now let's close this door and let's turn around, because as you saw before, we have additional closet. So right here we have 2 more doors, and let's open those. And over here we can find a wider one space, again hanging. One on the top, another one below, and this, of course, my luggage already there. Sorry for that. And as I showed you, friends, before, right across from this closet is where you can find this very, very large mirror. So, after we watched everything, are you guys ready to see the bathroom? Let's explore that. So the bathroom is again in this small corridor off the entrance door. And let me open the door for you and show you the bathroom. So this is, friends, our bathroom. And I do like how this bathroom, perhaps not the biggest of the suites I ever saw, it is very, very well appointed. We do have a very large mirror right here. We have 2 sinks, double sink right there. Of course, with some vanity that I will show you in a second. And we do also have some storage. So let me turn you around. Hi, friends. Right here, we have 3 shelves, 1, 2, 3, with a mirror behind them. This is where you have your shaver, of course, plug-in. You have the same shaver plug-in on the other side, so they were generous with those in the bathroom. And we have additional 3 shelves on the other side. The products, by the way, that the Princess uses nowadays is the Beekman 1802. So you have the body lotion right here, and of course the hand wash. They do provide some napkins, and of course underneath the sink we have some storage. Number 1, we have this drawer right here. It is very deep for your personal items. And on the other side we have identical one right there. Now below those drawers we have very long shelf on the bottom, which you can store additional items. Speaking about that, right across from the countertop, this is where you will find your commode, but this is also where we will find our bathtub. And not only a tub, but this is, my friends, is a jetted tub. So I'm very excited for that. Jetted type on a cruise ship, love it. That's very, very nice. Now, if I will turn you this way, we also have a walk-in shower in this bathroom. So while this space perhaps not the biggest or widest, there is definitely everything you might need. There's jetted tub, there's walk-in shower, double sink, storage, everything you potentially might need. Now, after we saw everything, I know the suite does not have a balcony, which I normally leave for the end, but I do want to show you the view and the size of those windows because, again, while this is not a balcony suite, it does have a very, very nice view. So again, we are on deck number 6. There is nothing really that disturbs your personal view, but let me open this for you so you can see what we have behind those windows. So right now we have them a sea ship right there, but this is your unobstructed view in Port Canaveral. Let me go back and open for you the other window as well, so we can see the whole size of this suite. Okay, let's just go back. Yeah. So again, I hope the camera can actually share it with you, friends. Those windows are very big. The room feels very, very spacious. It feels very, very wide. I might miss some, of course, time on the balcony, but I don't think I will ever feel claustrophobic or enclosed into the space because the place feels very, very spacious. Well, my friends, I hope you enjoyed the tour of the room. This is actually, for me, day number 7. And I think it's a very good time to talk about everything I liked, perhaps disliked about this room, or everything you should really know when booking this category of room. Now, I can't really speak for the other suites on board the ship because I didn't experience that, but I will say everything that actually came with my room. And let's start with the fact that I actually tried to find some information before this cruise about the suites. I tried to find some sort of a summary that will tell me what's included or not included with suites on board the Princess, and specifically the Caribbean Princess. And I will be completely frank with you, I kind of was confused. Because on the website there was some general information. When I contacted the chat service for Princess, I felt like I didn't get the answers I wanted as clear as I want them to be. And for that reason, I actually decided that I'm going to go to this cruise completely open-minded and kind of like figure out with you guys what to expect. We will learn together, we will see what comes. Now, I will start with the fact that you need to know that I booked one of those, and I will show you the paper here just because I will not forget stuff. I booked one of those packages. This is something that's called the Princess Premier. Now, as you know, you can cruise on Princess either just the cruise itself, nothing really included, and you pay as you go, or you can basically upgrade for 2 packages. One package is Princess Plus, and another one is the Premier. And I will just read you what the Plus, first of all, gives you. So the Plus will give you Medallion NAT Wi-Fi, which means basically you will get 1 device per guest for the duration of your cruise for internet. You will get something they call the Plus Beverage Package, which means it's going to cover pretty much unlimited amount of drinks on board ship for drinks up to $15 each. Anything above that, of course, will have to be charged. It will include the crew appreciation. This is how Princess called basically the gratuities, the tips. It also will include premium desserts. It says 2 per day. It will include fitness classes, 2 per cruise, juice bar, unlimited, 2 casual dining meals per guest per cruise. I will talk about those in a bit. Ocean Now delivery, which basically the Princess way to deliver things where you are located. We will talk about this as well. But it also includes the surcharge for room service that comes basically covered in this package. Now, if I move to the more upscale package, and this is the one that actually I pre-purchased, it's called the Princess Premier. This one includes the Medallion NAT, again, the same internet, but up to 4 devices per guest. You also will get the Premium Beverage Package, which basically will, same thing as with the package before, but the drinks that will be covered with this one are up to $20 per drink. You will get unlimited specialty dining. You will get casual dining meals, unlimited. You'll get crew appreciation, photo packages, limited for 3 prints per guest. You will be participating in something that's called Princess Prizes. We'll talk about this as well. You're supposed to get unlimited premium desserts, unlimited fitness classes, reserved theater sittings for production shows only, Ocean Now delivery, again the same service where they find you and they deliver things from whatever you would like from the menu, and of course again the room service. So those are the differences. In my case, the price difference between those two packages was about $30 per day. I decided to opt for the Princess Premier just to make sure that I can allow myself to fully review this cruise and see how that goes. As you saw when I boarded the ship, there's quite a few amenities that actually were waiting for me in the room. Part of the extras or the benefits that you get with being a full suite on board the ship is basically having this preset minibar. The preset minibar is basically few items in your actual minibar cooler. As you saw, there's a few, there's a Coke products, there's a few beers, I think there was like sparkling water, regular water, and there was also kind of a setup, as you saw on desk, with miniature bottles. Some had whiskey, some had gin, vodka, stuff like that. Those are, I will be completely honest, those are not top shelf products. But again, it's nice to have that when you board your ship. I will say that I really enjoy, I know it's basic, but I really enjoy the fruit platter. Comparing to other cruise lines I cruise with, I think there's a lot to learn. This was very nice, very generous fruit basket. I really enjoyed that. That's very pleasant, as well as those small appetizers that were delivered with the room. So those are the things that I received in my room upon checking in. Now, as I mentioned before, I tried to see the whole list of things that are actually included with those suites to kind of give you a better idea if you need those or perhaps you don't. So I tried to call the zero when you call the guest services, and I felt a little bit struggle to learn from them really what's included. I tried to go to front desk, but then I told myself, you know what, just explore it for the next week. Let's explore it and see actually what happens, so that at the end of it, hopefully, we can actually all realize what we're getting. So I will say that I learned that, first of all, you do have unlimited laundry. So in those suites, there is no limitations. You can have any laundry services. They call it the professional laundry services. But you can have dry cleaning, you have press, or any regular laundry you would like. Anything is really covered. I was told by my room attendant that if you give it to them before 9 a.m., they will actually return it the same day. If it's going to be anything after 9 a.m., it will have to be the next day afterwards. I used it only once. It was very nice. I mean, it was very decent, nothing to say about it, so I really appreciate that. On the other note, I will say, and again, this is probably my fault in my head, because I was comparing kind of like Princess to other cruise lines I cruised before, like Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, and others, as well as Sun Princess that I actually cruised before in January. I was a little bit surprised to see that the room didn't have any coffee or tea facilities, being a full suite. However, I will say that when I asked my room attendant if there's anything that can replace that, she actually provided me a kettle, but you do have to provide your own. You have to either go to the buffet or something like that to bring your tea or sugar or whatever. So just be prepared for that. They do have, of course, room service, so you can order your room service. You also have, of course, the app with all that we mentioned before, the Ocean Now delivery. So they can actually deliver whatever you would like, which is even espressos and stuff like that. Might take some time, but it's definitely going to be delivered to your room. Now, I also found this sheet in my room with some information, and it's partial information about everything you can actually enjoy. And I will just read it for you from the list, so I will not forget things. So first of all, you have complimentary special dining and embarkation evening, which basically mean that you do have one-time free invitation either for the steakhouse or the Italian restaurant they have on board, the specialty dinings, up for your choice, and it's going to be free complimentary one time. And as they say, let me see, yeah, it's basically just on embarkation evening. So just remember that you have to use it the first night you're here. And in my case, they actually called me to remind that, hey, you have this benefit, and would you like to join us, and what's your best time, and which restaurant you would like to go. So that's very nice to have. It has nothing to do with those packages we mentioned before, the Princess Plus or the Premier. This is just the benefit of the suite. Another thing is the suite breakfast. Now, you basically have two options. There is dedicated breakfast just for suite guests at the Sabatini restaurant. The Sabatini is the Italian restaurant. But you also have a special area in the main dining, which basically brings us to the next portion. It's called the Reserve Collection. And the Reserve Collection is basically Suites restaurant, but it's not really a separate restaurant. This is basically an area inside of the main dining room with your own entrance where you can show up anytime you would like. You don't need to make reservations. You don't need to have, early dinner or late dinner or my time, any of those. You basically show up whenever you would like, and you have your dedicated host there. You have, of course, the sommeliers there and everything else. The menu, from my understanding, is a little bit different. It's supposed to be a little bit more upscale than the main dining. I can't really say how better it is because I didn't try the regular section. But I will say it's a very decent offer. Some nights better, some less, but in general, I really enjoy the food. But yes, the breakfast is also served there. So the breakfast served daily from 7 to 9:30 on poor days, and from 7:30 to 9:30 on C days. So you can choose whether you go, of course, to the specialty breakfast for suites in the Sabatini, or you're going to the main dining, basically to the Reserve Collection on those mornings. It's up to you. Both options are open for you. Now, we come into a next portion. This is something that's called Suite Lounge. And they say here you'll find your dedicated lounge in Skywalker, Deck 19 Aft, hosted by your concierge Herman, and join us for complimentary aperitifs and hors d'oeuvres between hours of 5 and 6 p.m. each evening. This is something that I will say that, as you know, I never post anything negative. This is not my thing. But I will say that personally, perhaps I didn't try it or experience it the right way. I didn't find it something really beneficial for me. Because the suite lounge is not an actual suite lounge. This is basically a lounge that is accessible to everyone. There is a bar there, seating, and I'm sure many of you know what the Skywalker deck is. It's basically this huge square lounge on the back with beautiful views. But I will say, again, it is accessible to everyone. It is probably not accessible to everyone between those specific hours, which basically 1 hour a day. And what you have there is basically small bites, some drinks offering from their menu. It's not everything you want. And there will be a host that will be just walking around. This is a different for me than what I experienced before when you actually have a dedicated suite lounge. So I'm not sure if this is something you really looking for or need for, but this is how it works on this particular ship. I will say when I was on different ships with Princess, it actually was different. They actually had a dedicated lounge. I will say that they also organize periodically some events in different bars between certain hours, like meeting with officers, stuff like that, for suite guests, as well as the top tier members for Princess Cruise Line. But again, this is not a specific lounge. This is actually changing. Location varies from day to day and whatever they decide to do that day. So it's basically a meeting in certain bar, certain area, between certain hours. Another benefit is actually the water shuttle. Now, this ship does dock at least at one port, which requires water shuttles to be transferred, of course, on shore. And being, of course, in the suite, it gives you a priority for those water ferries. So you would get basically a number for suites, and you can easily get off and on board whenever you would like. So that's very nice to have. I will say that this is not part of the list, so this is something I learned. On day 2, I received a phone call from the spa, and you know how we all receiving those spa phone calls and we're thinking somebody's about to sell us something. No, it actually was nothing like that. They wanted to call and greet me as a suite guest and let me know that I have free access for the duration of the cruise for the thermal suites. So this is a very nice surprise. This is actually not mentioned anywhere on the website. This is not mentioned anywhere on those papers. Nothing. It's not there. So it's a very cool feature. You do have dry wet saunas there. You have some facilities. It's very nice to have. It brings me to one thing with the spa. The thermal suites are actually located together with, you know, the regular spa, the treatment rooms. There is also something that's called the thermal pool. And that pool seems to be part of this high-end spa. However, this is actually accessible to anyone. You don't need necessarily to stay in a suite or anything else. This pool can be accessed by any guest. Most guests don't really know about that pool. It is actually located on the very front of the ship, and you will need to take the elevator to deck number 16, go out, and still go one deck up. But yeah, this is a very, very quiet area. This is a very private pool. Most people are not there, so I actually never encountered this to be very, very busy. But yeah, it's very, very nice to have. Now, as part of those suites explanation of what's included, I did receive this note here with Herman, who is the suite contact, events and guest services supervisor. And in this note, you basically get the schedule of the events they do. So for example, just so you can have an idea what to expect, there's a suite welcome celebration at sea. So it's going to be basically on day 2, and it's again 1 hour, 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. with senior officers at the Wheelhouse Bar, deck 7. Then there is Suite and Elite Platinum Lounge and daily pre-dinner aperitifs, as I mentioned before. And there is the Suite event, which they offer you with a captain. So this is basically happening it happened on Saturday, April 12th. And the captain is there and things like that. So those are a few of those events that they make, and this is what you can actually expect. Dress code, I would say probably on the formal side. I feel like princesses nowadays a little bit flexing this. They don't really require you to wear a suit, but just, you know, to be proper, long pants, things like that. Now, on those cards, they also mention that your suite contact will personally assist you with any bookings arrangements, such as dining and spa, and your suite contact is available by dialing 6000. So, from my experience, unfortunately, by dialing this number, you get to the regular line with any other guest when you call in basically guest services. From the computer system that they have here on board, they don't really have a way to see where you're calling from or which suite you're calling from. So it's not really a dedicated line for suites. I haven't ever really been able to speak on the phone with somebody who is actually suite dedicated, concierge, or something of that sort. They're all always very, very nice and helpful, but just keep in mind that there is, from my experience this week, unfortunately there is no really dedicated line or service for suites. Now, perhaps if you at one of those events that they make every day in one specific hours, I assume that Herman is there, but this probably will be your one and only chance to have your personal kind of like suite services. However, on deck 6 is where you can find, in the midship, you can find your guest services. At the guest services, there is one side that actually has assigned for suite guest and of course the top tier. So at that point, you actually will have usually less lines and someone who is actually dedicated to see suite guests. I will say that I tried to set up a meeting with Mr. Herman, just kind of like to have, you know, a summary of things that really supposed to come with this package of the suites to share it with you, my friends. However, I believe Herman was busy, so I didn't get the chance to do that. So everything I'm sharing with you guys, it's all my personal experience. Perhaps some of you have different experience, and of course, please share that. But yeah, this is what I was able to experience. Now, let's go back to talk about the room. I have to say that the ship was built back in 2004. At this point, I have quite rich experience with different cruise lines, different ships, and I will say that this particular ship, for her age, is in incredible condition. Does she show some signs of age? Of course she does. But the design, the decor, it is so appealing. You do get this vibe of old school marine luxury vessel, even though she's on the bigger side. So I do appreciate that. I also will say that this particular suite, and let's go with the name Window Suite, because as I mentioned before, this suite has really been called so many different names, from Window Suite to Vista Suite to having actually a particular name to each suite. Mine was, I think, Puerto Rico. But let's go with the Window Suite because that's right now what it's called on the website for Princess. So the suite is beautiful. I really, really enjoyed the decor here. The location, my friends, it's outstanding. I don't think I ever stayed in a better location room. You are located on deck number 6, mid-forward, and you have your own corridor. Come on, this is just incredible. The corridor is just 7 suites, and that's all you have there. Now, I was a little bit concerned about will it be a little bit noisier because it's so close to the centrum and there's like music playing and stuff like that. And in the front you have, of course, the theater, you know, all those things that we always read. Honestly, none of that. I never actually suffered from any noise, even though I'm prone to that. There is no issues of that sort. It's very intimate. It's very, very nice. Would I like to have a balcony? Well, it's a personal preference. Of course, I would like to have a balcony. If this suite had a balcony, it would be everything you ever wanted, but I still never felt any problem with having those huge 2 windows. The views are beautiful, the location, as I said, is wonderful. Come on, having all those things like the jetted tub in your room or all the space, the crazy amount of storage in one suite. This is very, very, very nice to have. As you know, they also added all those new medallion features to the ship, so you do have that. The room, of course, unlocks itself once you come in close to it, just because it recognizes by your medallion that you're right there. Yeah, there's a lot of positive to staying in those rooms. I think for whether couples or even solo travelers, this is incredible. Now, the location couldn't be better. You are on deck 6, as I mentioned. The front desk is literally outside of your corridor right there, which means also that the coffee shop right there, 1 deck up down. So you literally open the door of this corridor, take the stairs down, and you're at the coffee shop. The bars are right there. The shops are right there. Anything you possibly might want. So for that reason, I will definitely say that I'm in love with this category of room, because this is really everything you would like to have. Now let's talk, my friends, about those 2 packages that I mentioned before that we booked. So I booked, as I told you, the Princess Premier. I will start saying that I really don't think that booking the Premier specifically is something worthy for me for this particular week. And the reason, let's start just, section by section what you get. So as we said, the Premier compared to the Plus will have 4 internet devices instead of the 1. The internet on board this particular vessel was not without any challenges. Unfortunately, it was sometimes slower, sometimes it was great. Even though the weather 99% of the time was great, there was none of that. However, the internet had its own challenges. I couldn't really use my 4 devices and my computer to really work and upload my videos for you, my friends, because it's really unfortunately wasn't fast enough. So that section I would be completely fine with the 1 device, just my phone and stuff like that, just to communicate. The Premier Beverage Package, this one includes drinks up to $20. Of course, the Plus includes up to $15. This is not something that I can tell you whether it's worth or not, because only you know what you actually drink. So in my case, because the number of drinks I take per day is not that many, I will say that going with the Plus probably would be the better option, because even if I would like to order something more top tier, top end, I will just pay the difference and that should be sufficient enough. As far as the crew appreciation, we do have that in both of those packages. The photo package It's limited for basically, you have unlimited for digital and you have 3 prints that are included. Personally, I usually do my own photos, maybe 1 or 2. So it's nice to have, but again, my friends, if you're traveling with family and if you actually would like those unforgettable pictures being taken of you and professionally, I would highly recommend that because this is actually a good value to have. For me, I didn't really use it much, so I didn't really enjoy that benefit. But if you would like to make those memories for somebody taking your pictures, that's really great. The Princess Prizes option that comes with the Premiere. So this is actually the second time I have the Premiere. One time was on Sun Princess, another time here. The way Princess Prizes works is, from my understanding, is basically every time you're coming back to your room and the room recognizes you enter in the room, you potentially might win some prizes, whether it's, I think, maybe some bingo cards or maybe some drinks, I don't know, something like that. I have never felt or been part of that actually happening because every time I enter my room I see, unfortunately, not you didn't win now, maybe next time. Not on my 2 weeks on Sun and not on my week here. So for me, this didn't really have any value. Perhaps for you it is. It's kind of lottery, I guess, something like that. Fitness classes, I'm not sure. If you're using your fitness classes and if you're a person who actually enjoy going to those, then definitely this is something you have in the Premier package. Juice bar. My friends, I have not found a juice bar on board the ship. Now, I will appreciate comments if you know where the juice bar on board this vessel. However, I have not found one. Reserved theater seating. I did appreciate that, I will say. The production shows can get pretty busy. I have never been on a production show without a full theater. So this is much appreciated personally for me because yes, you still will have to show up probably about 30 minutes or so before if you want to have a good seat. But yes, it's very nice to have reserved seating area to enjoy the shows you would like to have. Now, we do have Ocean Now delivery on both of those packages. I personally a big fan of Ocean Now delivery. I think it's a great feature that Princess has because you literally can be theoretically anywhere on board the ship, most areas. And if you would like a snack, if you would like a drink, you can just go to the app and you can order. Now they do know where you are located at all times. I will show you that. You do get this medallion. And by wearing this medallion, they know where you are on the ship. So this is a very, very nice feature. Now, I do know that because of technical issues that I was told, this feature didn't really work on board this vessel. I addressed it with the front desk. I actually spoke to them and they said that there's some technical issues with that. So I can't really say how it works here because unfortunately it didn't really work well. The room service, I did it twice for breakfast. It was decent, it was very nice. It's great not to be charged for that, so for your breakfast. And that's actually another thing that I completely forgot. One of the benefits when you're staying in your suite is actually having a full hot breakfast delivered to your suite. So don't forget to make sure that you have in your room one of those sleeps that you can put outside your door. And you have, of course, your menu there. You choose whatever you would like. The breakfast can be delivered warm, eggs and everything we would like to your suite. So friends, to sum it up, I really think on this particular vessel, and from my particular experience, the Princess Plus probably is the best way to go. Because think about this, the gratuities, it's something you will have to pay on board anyway. Nowadays, I'm not sure how about you, but most of us will pay for the internet. You will need some sort of beverage package if you would like to have the specialty coffees or a drink. So I think if you would like to have this peace of mind, on this particular vessel, I think that Princess Plus is probably your better choice. As far as the dining goes, the Princess Plus you have 2 casual dining meals. What is casual dining? In addition to the main dining, in addition to the buffet, there are 2 restaurants. One is a barbecue and another one is a seafood. And those restaurants are basically part of the buffet area. During the night, those being transferred into those casual meals, and you basically can dine there. I have tried the barbecue place. It was very nice. Would I pay $40 to have a dinner there? I'm not so sure it's worth it. But when it's included with your package, and it is included 2 times in Princess Plus, then I definitely would visit that. As far as the specialty dining goes, you have 2 restaurants as mentioned before. You have the steakhouse and you have the Italian restaurant. Now, let's talk about the fact, as mentioned at the beginning of this video, that one time you will be invited for free because you're staying in a suite. So basically it leaves you, if you just want to try what they have, it leaves you one more time to go to the one restaurant you haven't visited yet. For that reason, I'm not sure that having unlimited specialty dining is necessarily worth it. Would there be more restaurants on board a ship, like for example on the Sun Princess? Then absolutely yes. When you have only 2 restaurants and just about a week or so of a cruise, I think that the main dining for the suites, the reserve collection as they call, is absolutely sufficient. The food is, for the most part as mentioned, is very, very good. So let's sum those things up. Does it worth being here in a suite? I think it's always a question of price. I didn't really feel that the suite necessarily completely changes your experience on board this vessel, simply because a lot of things are included and a very good quality, like food and service and stuff like that. It's always a personal question. It depends how much it costs. It depends how much you value the extra space, the extra decor, because again, I'm enjoying this beautiful, beautiful room. But I will say that the location of those particular suites, as mentioned before, it's incredible. I probably enjoyed more walking myself every time to the coffee shop to grab like a nice sandwich, which are, by the way, incredible the whole day. Specialty coffees, stuff like that. Or even if I want a drink, just to go outside my corridor, which is right here, and the bar is right there, and just make it and come back to your room even if you don't want to sit there. It is very, very, very nicely located. If for you would like to find, and if you enjoy to have the better price value, then I think on board this vessel, being in a balcony cabin is probably your best value if this is something you would like. Simply because, again, the accommodation is there, the service is there, most of the items are included, so that's probably the better way for me on board this beautiful vessel. I will say though, because personally I had this difficulty to figure out everything that is included or not included, I learned towards the middle of the cruise that Princess did things nowadays a little bit different. Because they're trying to go a little bit the high-tech way, now a lot of things are on their TV. So if you don't have the information, for example, in the paper you have in your room, or if perhaps you're having a hard time to get some, directions, I would open the TV, because on the TV you have a lot of things you can do. You can order your room service, you can basically change your status of your room if you would like it to be clean or do not disturb. There's a lot of information there. There's a lot of content on demand, like movies and TV series, stuff like that. Their TV is basically their hub. So definitely use that, open the TV, try to see if the information that you're looking for is there. It can actually help you, same as the app itself, how to go to certain places. It will show you the directions and the locations of those. So definitely use that. Your best go-to from my personal again experience this 7 days is the front desk. I would just simply go there. They're very, very nice. They're always kind, always attentive. Ask and bring to their attention whatever you need. If you didn't, so for example, in my case, when I boarded, I had to ask for the bathrobes and sleepers, stuff that's supposed to be in the suite. So again, if it's not there, just simply be kind and approach them and bring to their attention, and they will definitely try to make sure that they can deliver everything possible. So yeah, I hope I was able to sum most of the things for you, my friends, and a little bit clarify potentially what is included or not included with the suites on board the beautiful Caribbean Princess. My favorite feature, if you ask, of this ship is probably her beauty. It's an old school cruising. I really enjoy that. Thank you very much, Caribbean Princess, for making and taking care of yourself in a such very nice aesthetic way. So yeah, this is my experience here. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or anything you would like to share, please don't forget to comment below. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and share so I can keep doing what I like to do most. But until next time, until next adventure, I'm your Hedge.